Themes of the narrative of Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass, a prominent activist, author, and public speaker, was a formerly enslaved man who became a leader in the abolitionist movement, which sought to end the practice of slavery. In 1885, Douglass published his autobiography, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, extracting themes of truth, hypocrisy, and knowledge from Douglass's narrative serves to highlight important lessons from his life. The first lesson Douglass offers from his narrative is the lesson of truth. Douglass uses his own story and experiences to express the injustice of slavery. Douglass's goal in writing the narrative is to shine light on the truth of slavery. A moment that defies Douglass's reverence for the truth is his discovery of a book called The Columbian Orator. In The Columbian Orator, a dialogue happens between a slave and his master, where the master brings forth an argument in favor of slavery. Douglass writes, "The moral which I gained from the dialogue was the power of truth over the conscience of even the slaveholder. What I got from the Sheridan, the slave, was a bold denunciation of slavery and a powerful vindication of human rights." The lesson that Douglass gained from the dialogue was the power of truth over the conscience of even the slaveholder. In the narrative, Douglass describes how many slave masters sought to suppress the truth of slavery. By writing his narrative, he uncovers the truth of slavery. Douglass believes that having slaves is damaging for both the slave owner and the slaves themselves. Douglass describes slave holding as an exercise of irresponsible power that inevitably corrupts the person who wields it. The corrupt power that slave masters exercise over their slaves results in a decline in morality and growth in hypocrisy on part of the slave masters. Douglass gives an illustration of the corruption of slave owners through Sophia Auld, Douglass's old mistress, wife of his former slave master. Douglass writes, "But alas, the kind heart had but a short time remained such. The fatal poison of irresponsible power was already in her hands, and soon commenced its infernal work. That cheerful eye, under the influence of slavery, soon became red with rage. That voice made all the sweet accord change to one harsh, abhorred discord, and that angelic face gave place to that of a demon." The perverting nature of slaveholding transformed Mrs. Auld from a woman of the kindest heart to a woman full of rage. Douglass makes the case against slavery by showing the detrimental effects of the fatal poison of irresponsible power on Thomas Auld, Sophia Auld, and the community. The power of knowledge is expressed throughout the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. Douglass writes of a pivotal point in his life where he realized knowledge was a pathway to freedom. Douglass recalls the words of Mr. Auld, a former master, after he found out that Mrs. Auld was teaching him to read. Hearing the words of Mr. Auld motivated Douglass to further seek knowledge. Douglass gained the revelation that ignorance is what is used by the master to gain power over the slave. Upon his revelation, Douglass could not be prevented from taking the L and pursuing knowledge. Douglass gave assurance to man by articulating the importance of freedom to people's identity as human beings. Douglass's narrative articulates the importance of truth, the dangers of hypocrisy, and the power of knowledge.